Okay, guys, so we will start with the first question now. It's saying that Jacob is attempting to classify organisms as either birds or fish. So he has listed the following characteristics: have feathers, have feathered bodies, have wings, breathe with gills, lay eggs with hard shells, live in water, use fins for movement. Which three characteristics are those of fish and three of those of birds? So I think it's not that difficult, this question, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we will have three as birds, obviously having feathered bodies. This belongs to birds. Have wings, okay, and lay eggs with hard shells. Those three belong to the birds, and the other three characteristics will belong to the fish. Now we'll move to the first question of the critical thinking, which is an easy one, guys, but just need you to be focused. Let me
Miss,
look at those who raised their hands. Okay, Yasin Hisham, are you raising your hands to ask a question or you want to answer the question?
No, I want to answer.
You want to answer? Okay. Yes, you can start answering now.
Okay. Birds had feathered bodies, have wings, lay eggs with hard shells, and fish breathe with
Okay, Yasin,
gills.
Yasin, 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 thank you so much. Are you answering number 18?
Yeah.
Yes, but we did this, sweetie. We did this already. I told you there are three characteristics that belong to the bird, and that's it. The other will belong to the fish. Thank you so much. I was asking about number 19.
Okay.
Do you want to answer number 19?
Okay.
Okay, so it says that two animals are identified as Lynx rufus and Lynx candides. Are these animals members of the same genus or the same species? Can you explain this one?
The same genus because Linux
Yes?
is the same in both animals, and it is the name of genus.
Yes, so you say they belong to the same genus because both of them carry the same
Same,
Lynx name.
yeah,
Yes, and the scientific name is made up of two parts, the genus and
species.
the
United
species.
species.
Yes, that's right. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yasin. Yes, this is how it's simple, is it? So, guys, it doesn't have to be so complicated. The answer doesn't have to be complicated. So, do you get it, yeah, Amr, or are you still confused?
Yes, Miss.
Do you get it, sweetie?
Yes, I understand.
Okay. So it just maybe it's showing that it needs a really long answer, but it's so simple. So both of them belong to the same genus, not the same species, because they share the genus name, not the species name.
مس
Okay, let me write down the answer for you. Yes.
مس واحنا بنطبع الهومورك كده.
Well, if you wanted to do it on the computer and send it to me, you should have done that.
هو مش موجود على الكتاب صح؟ مش
No,
موجود.
it's not in the book. No, guys. This is not your book, actually. This is my book. I got these questions from my book, so you will not find it in your book, okay?
Mm.
Okay, so both animals are members of the same genus, okay? This is how we're going to start this. Let me write it down for you. Okay. Both animals belong to the same genus.
Genius.
Yes. Which is which
Miss
one?
Linux.
Lennox.
Linux.
Yes, exactly.
Miss,
Yes.
What animal is Linux? What animal is Linux?
Both of them named Linux. Genius.
Well,
No,
in
no,
order
I
to
mean
search for
like
this, you have to use the scientific name. So if, for example, you used it to search for Linux rufus, let me just show it to you in here. Can you see this one?
yes,
Yeah, so this is Linux
yes.
rufus. This is the first one, or the first species he mentioned. Okay.
Yes, they're not cute at all.
No, they
Yeah.
are. I believe all animals are cute. Okay, let's search for the other one. Can you see they look so familiar? Can you guys see that?
The other one looks scary.
Yes, but this one looks a little bigger and this one lives in the forest. The other one, on the other hand, lives in the wild, doesn't live in the forest. I'm sorry, it doesn't live in the snow, not that much. This one is dotted, the other one
Miss, I don't like cats. So
kind of,
any cat I
yeah,
see,
camouflage.
it's
Can
not
you guys see
cute.
that? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Pushing this
it
in.
looks scary.
Yes, so now you know why they are so close. Can you see how genus is so close, guys? When they both belong to the same genus.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So
from the
again,
book,
both animals belong to the same genus, but
Miss, I read from the book this lesson yesterday. It have like something like a chart. It becomes smaller. When it becomes smaller, it gets animals like each other. In the genus, it got a wild cat and a house cat.
what was the
The,
question again? Whoever is talking, because I didn't hear your question.
it's not a question.
You were saying something? So the animals again belong to, just give me a minute.
Genus,
Give me a minute and I will come back to you. So the animals belong to different species from their names. Like you don't have guys to look for them. You just know from their scientific names that both of them are different. Okay. Okay. Because you guys now know that the scientific name is made up of two parts, the genus and the species. And genus is the first name. Yes. Who was talking about what you were saying?
me, Tanahi.
Yes, Tanahi.
I said that in the book there was a chart that about the genus and the kingdom
Yes,
and
it gets
classes.
smaller and smaller as you move down to species,
Yes,
right? Yes, I
when it
know. We did
becomes
this in
smaller,
the session.
when it becomes smaller, it becomes animal like each other more.
Yes,
Like the
they share more things as you go down into the levels of classification. Yes, that's right.
exactly yes.
Yes, thank you so much, Tanahi. Number 20,
Yep.
it says the picture shows three kinds of organisms, a paramecium, bacteria, and a frog. This question is made up of two parts. Okay, let's start with part one. Which organism is made up of many cells? Okay, let's look at the people raising their hands for this question. Yes, Abdurrahman Tanahi, you're raising your hand.
The answer is frog
Yes, the frog. Can you explain why?
because the animal is made up of many cells. The bacteria. Uh, what is paramecium?
Paramecium. It's a microscopic organism, as obviously.
No, it's bacteria or protist.
No, it's not a bacteria, sweetie. Paramecium, it's not. It's a microscopic organism.
So
Okay, and
It's not bacteria. That's why they put them in two different pictures. Bacteria is made up. I mean, like there are a lot of types of bacteria, but all of them don't have nucleus in them. But paramecium is actually a microscopic organism that has
paramecium
its
is
own
protist,
life, you know?
right?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Miss,
Yes? Can you hear me now?
Miss, can you hear me?
Yes, Tanahi, can you hear me? Guys, can you hear me? Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Yes.
there is a problem with Tanahi's internet connection. I have no idea because he keeps saying miss. Okay, guys, so paramecium is a microscopic protist, a microscopic organism, okay, and that's why it doesn't belong to bacteria. And basically it's like lives in the water and stuff. So in here he's saying that which of those is actually the multicellular organism or many-celled organisms. Tanahi said the frog. Now he needs an explanation because it's an animal, right? Yes? Guys, are you still with me?
Yeah.
Yes, so an
Yes.
animal is basically a multicellular organism. Have you ever heard of an animal that is not multicellular?
No.
Yes, so
No.
it's an animal and is a multicellular. Guys, excuse me, I'm writing with one hand. That's why it's a little bit slower. It's a multicellular organism. There's the R. Okay. But both bacteria and paramecium are, what do we call them? Do you guys remember what do we call them?
Unicellular.
Exactly. Yes.
Unicellular.
Unicellular. Yes, that's right. Part two of the question says, which of these organisms have cells that have nucleus? Let's check people raising their hands now. Okay, we have Schlock.
Yes, miss.
Yes, would you like to answer this part to B of this question?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer would be frog.
Yes, so only frog?
And
Per
platinum.
Yes, and the paramecium.
Yes.
Yes, that's right. And paramecium.
Miss, I write only paramecium because I didn't understand, and I write paramecium only.
Why didn't you understand? What is in the question that you don't understand?
I thought you only want one thing.
Um okay, this then you answered you understood the question in the wrong way. It says here, which of these organisms have cells? Which of these organisms? He meant the three. So you need to focus more, ya Amu, so you won't make a mistake like this again, okay? So it's going to be the frog
Okay.
and the paramecium again, because both of them have cells that contain a nucleus, while bacteria do not have nucleus in their cells, okay? So it's going to be the frog and paramecium because they both have cells that contain what? That contain what, guys?
Nucleus.
A nucleus. Yes, that's right. Bacteria or bacterial organisms, they don't have this. Bacterial cells have no no nucleus, okay? Let me put this a little bit down. Can you guys see the answers now?
Yes.
Okay. What's this? Okay. So you guys have only 1 minute to finish this page. Let me
Miss, there is
minimize.
an A after the E.
Yes?
There is an A after the E.
Which E, sweetie?
The E after you.
The what?
It should be Nucleaus.
No, Habti, there's no A. There's no A. Who's saying this again? Who's saying that?
Me.
Who's this?
Yasin said it.
No, Yasin, there's no A before this. It's just nucleus, just like that. Okay? Don't mix between nucleus and something else or nuclei. There's no A in here. Okay, guys, so you have a minute to finish this page. Let me minimize it for you so you can see all the answers. Okay, guys, so today we will continue the revision and we will revise on chapter 4. Again, in chapter 4, we did not take lesson 1 because it's not included in the standards. It's talking literally about the traits, if you guys remember, and how do we get the traits from our parents and the different traits. And do you guys remember this one?
Yes.
Yes, I hope you do. Just let me open the PowerPoint. It's taking a little bit of time. Okay, guys, so we're back. Let me admit your friends in here.
Inherited trait.
Miss, I lost connection.
It's okay, Donah. Yes, I saw that because you kept calling for me, and I keep hearing you, but you cannot hear me. But it's okay. Okay, guys, so in chapter 4, as we said, lesson 2, we started with how we get all the features and how we inherit them from our parents. And we said inherited trait, that was the first word you learned about in this lesson. And we said inherited means it's something we get from our parents, it's passed to us from our parents. So when I say inherited characteristics, it means something or characteristic that passed to us from our parents, like the eye color, the hair color, the skin, having freckles, the hair texture, okay? The
Dimples.
ear shape, yeah, some behaviors and stuff like that. Writing with your right hand or left hand. This is also something we inherit from our parents. An example for this, for example, in this picture, as you guys can see, okay, so we have someone with no. Guys, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so this picture is showing puppies. Okay, you may say like all of them belong to different parents, right? But actually, they are all from the same parent. They maybe do not look like each other.
They
Okay,
didn't take all the inherited. They
exactly,
didn't
yes,
take all
because of
the
the
traits.
traits they inherited, but some of them still look like their parents, maybe others look like the grandparents, so it's up to the trait themselves that they got from their parents. And we said that farmers at all times used to breed horses. Okay, breed here means mate horses, like you get a male and a female horse with the traits that they wanted, so they can have an offspring with the desirable traits, like they could be fast and they could be strong enough, so they are like gathering all the good traits they needed. The one that was interested in these genes or the genetic thing was actually Gregor Mendel, if you guys remember this name.
Yes.
Yeah, he
Yes, that
tested
was
with
a
a frog.
scientist who was actually interested and he started studying how traits pass to us from our parents. Okay, we still have 10 minutes for this meeting. So he did his experiment on which plant? Can you guys remember?
In
Yeah,
a
and
pea
Yes,
plant.
pea plant, exactly, yes. So he had a tall pea plant and a
and a
short
short
pea
one.
plant, and that's why he used the pea plant at the beginning, at the first
Messi got
place.
two different generations.
Yes,
He got, he got two different traits.
yes, because he got pea plants with tall stem, others with short stem. So he wanted the differences to be so obvious. Okay, and that was the first reason why he used the pea plant at the beginning of the experiment, because the pea plants have distinctive features, like big differences between both of them. Okay,
Okay.
Okay, so they
Okay.
either short or tall, they either have a purple flower or white flower. The peas themselves, they could be green or yellow. So there is a big difference he can notice. The second reason was that the pea plants are self-pollinated. Do you guys remember what do we mean by self-pollinated?
It
Yes,
pollinated
they don't
itself. It
need.
doesn't need a bee or something like this to get
They
pollen
didn't
from
Exactly,
it.
need
yes.
help.
Or what we mean by self-pollinated is that the pollen moves from the answer in the flower to the stigma in the same flower, which means it will not share traits from any other flower because now it
It
keeps
doesn't help.
everything inside of it. Okay.
Miss, it doesn't need
Okay.
someone to help it.
Yes, it doesn't need a help. That's right. And it doesn't get any pollen from any outer flower, so it doesn't have any mix of traits. Okay.
Yeah.
He knows that. He can control the process itself. So, guys, he did like his experiment. He had a tall and a short. The first generation he got from seeds were all tall
All
plants. You
tall.
guys remember that? Yes, they were all tall plants. And then he self pollinated them. Like he did not actually do anything in the first generation. He just left the plant to produce its own seeds. And then he got the second generation where they all were tall,
Three tall.
one plant that was short. And in here, you guys, that was the surprise for him. Now he knew that some traits can skip
Yes.
generation. Yes,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
short trait was actually in the grandparents, if we call them grandparents, but they actually called parent generation. If we call them the grandparent generation, which was a tall and a short, this is the only generation he found short traits in. He didn't see them in the first generation, but the trait of shortness actually appeared in the second generation. And from this point, he understands three things. Number one, a characteristic is controlled by pair of factors, which then we call them traits. These factors are then called traits. And number two is that the way the factors combine, how they combine, like the dominant and the recessive, if you guys remember those two words also, is the one that controls what trait will appear. Like, will it be short? Will it be long? Will it
Tall.
be, with dark haired or white hair? If we are talking about humans in here. Um, Number three, he learned also that traits can skip generations, as we said.
Generation.
Yes. Um, so from this, guys, we learned that those factors you were talking about are called nowadays traits. We call them traits. So we have two types of traits. We have dominant trait, which is the
And
stronger
Recessive.
one, exactly the one that appears the most, like tallness in this case, and recessive trait, which appears if only one factor was there, because every person share two factors or two
so
traits. So they could be two
Miss,
T
like
here I
capital.
didn't understand TT and TT.
Yes. And
I
here,
didn't
sweetie.
understand it.
Oh, okay. It's
when
okay.
it has
You
one
should have
capital.
understood it in the previous sessions and you should have asked me then, yeah. But it's okay. So the T here represents two dominant traits. They could be tall, for example. In this case, if we're talking about plants, T capital here means the tall plants, the one that carry the dominant trait. Okay?
Okay.
D
Each
means
organism, يا عمرو, each organism. Okay, was that Amr asking the question?
Yes.
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 Uh-huh.
So each organism, يا عمرو, takes two factors from his parents. You take half of these factors from your parent, like one factor from the mother, the other factor from your father. Okay? That's why
Okay.
we carry two letters, not one. We use two letters, not one. Okay?
Yes.
Yes. So when I
Okay.
say two T
Okay.
capitals, that means it only carries the dominant trait. When I say T capital and T small, it means that it carries T capital for dominant and T small for shortness. But in here, you know that whatever trait is going to show up, it's going to be the tall one because the dominant is a stronger trait, so it will appear even if there is only one factor for it. So in here, in the second example, you have T capital and one T capital and one T small. Which one will appear? What do you think this plant will be?
T
Will it be
capital.
tall or small or short?
T capital tall.
Yes, it will be tall because it carries both factors, but dominant is the one that will appear. In the recessive trait, you can see that in order to appear, it needs to be 2T small because it cannot appear if there's a dominant with it.
So it need to be both of them short.
Yes, both of them need to be small letters, so they will actually represent the recessive trait in here, which is a weak one. So in the plants, the three tall plants in here, all of them had a T capital. Maybe they had two T capitals, maybe they had one T capital, but and one T small, but still,
They have dominant trait.
yes, they still became tall ones. The shorter plant was the only one that carried two T small. That's why,
Small.
Small.
yes,
Because
it
it's
was the
small.
only one that carried the factors for recessive trait, and that's why it appeared a
مش
short one.
carried too small because it's short and it's not strong at all.
Yes,
It carried too small because it don't have any demonstrated traits.
yes, exactly. It doesn't carry any dominant, and that's why the recessive appeared in this case.
Is it
Okay.
named dominant or demonstrated?
Yes, no dominant was there to be expressed. That's right. Then we move to the next part. Of course, guys, next year, inshallah, when you are in grade 6, you will study more about these traits, the dominant and the recessive trait. You will study more about them, like with more details. Also, with how the cells reproduce. That's something you will, guys, study about, inshallah, next year when you're in grade 6 with more details. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Now let's move to the second part of the lesson, which was talking about the adaptation. And you know now that adaptation is a trait or behavior. A trait is something that it gets from his parents, right? Or something in his body, or a behavior, something the animal does to help it survive.
It
Okay,
can
this
be
is
an
what we
Make
mean
it
by
instinct,
adaptation.
survive.
So we have, yes,
can be an instinct or unlearned
yes,
behavior
yes. An adaptation can be physical, behavioral, or involves life process.
involved.
Physical is actually something in the body, like the color of their hair. Maybe they have certain pattern on their body that camouflage.
Like the rabbits.
Yes,
And like the rabbits in the winter.
yes, like this hair in the winter. This is
Like
type
that.
of rabbits. We call hair also. So this rabbit actually has a white fur in the winter, so he can camouflage between the snow. Can blend in, can be invisible, so he can hide from his predators. And when the winter is over, the hair or the fur, I'm sorry, of this rabbit turns into a brown one, so he can also camouflage, but this time between the trees and stuff, so he can also hide from his predators. This is a type of physical adaptation, something in the body. You guys studied more about the adaptation in last year. Remember when we studied about camouflage, instinct, and stuff like that? Yes, we also learned about mimicry, if you guys remember. So, we have another type, which is a behavioral adaptation, something the animal will do in order to survive. Like, for
Without
example,
being taught.
yes, like the snake, for example, hiding in the shades, or getting a poison out so he can scare his attackers, or he can actually poison his prey so he can eat it easily. So that's what we call sometimes an instinct. But
There's
an
nothing
instinct
certain.
is something the animal does without actually being taught. No one taught him to do so. Okay. Like, for example, guys, eating, we eat without being learned.